Hey, good morning, people. What up? Hey, morning. Good morning, people. Good morning. Good morning. It's been a while since I've done a live stream outside. Yes, this is Spirit Journey and Lavender. Yes, it's another beautiful day here in Rwanda. And yes, today is June 3rd, 2025. And it's just after 6 a.m. in the morning. When I get to the top of the hill, I'll put little Lavy down on the floor. It's heavy. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to talk about some controversial stuff right now. Yeah. Some of it is going to be funny things that make me laugh because the irony of it all. Yes. Wartime. When I want to talk about the stories that I heard on YouTube just now. I watched these two programs. One was a love story between black and white during World War II. The other video, an unglamorous incident during World War II in Europe. Not glamorous and evil. You know, there's the word history, but they should have in the curriculum her story. They don't talk about a lot of things when you have events in war. It's always spoken. Can I put it down on the floor? Good boy. Oh. Yeah. Do my hair. Slim. Oh. Wow, he's getting heavy. So, yeah, the story should be told. Yeah, there's always been war on this planet. And there's wars happening now in the world. But you never really hear the story, the story, the history, or the herstory, the other side of the spectrum. History is always talked in, given in books by men. But what is the other side of the spectrum? That's what I want to talk about. I know I'm not a woman's liver. Come, 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 Lavi. Come. Hello. But I hope. Come. Come on. A little doggy. He wants to eat. Look in your lips. Come on. See? What are you doing? You trying to eat? You trying to eat stuff on the floor? No. He's trying to eat things that he's not supposed to eat. Yeah, oh my hair. I was sleeping on it. Yeah, look. Ooh. It's flat, right? Yeah, I what do you call, co-washed my hair yesterday. And when you sleep on it, it gets flat. Yeah. Oh, well. Oh, well, it's not about looks. But anyway, I want to talk about these two stories. I'm going to talk about the one first that I thought was romanticism of wars. World War II. It was a bloody war. Hello. Thank you, thank you. That's nice. Yeah, good boy, good boy. Go pee pee. Yeah. I'm so a little distracted right now. Vehicles are coming by. So, anyway. Hey. Good people here in Rwanda. Yeah, they're responding to my little dog. I guess in life you have two sides of the story. You have good and bad. I guess that's dichotomy of planet Earth. Okay, you going party? Okay, good for it. I'm gonna find out what radio stations listening to. Yeah, it sounds cool. I don't speak the language, but I like what they listen to. Good boy. Good boy. Sorry. Good boy.
Morning.
Morning, morning, morning. Put my pocket. Come, come. No, no, we're going another way. No, come on. But I hope. Good boy. Yeah, good one. It means he's eating. Yeah. Yeah, it's something when you watch programs and when you're older and you're seeing programs regarding World War II, and then you live in a country that had a recent war or civil war. Hey, yeah, you had the same station too. I gotta find out what station to listen to. They had this neat music. It reminds me of the BBC. Hey, Mama Neza. That's the only thing I know how to say. Okay, let me get back. Yeah, war. Like we watch things on television. I watched things on television as a child. Back in America, where I'm from. I'm from New York City, born and raised in Queens. But I lived in Manhattan and worked in Manhattan. So I'm really a Manhattanite. But either way, it's really something when you see about wartime and gets you thinking. Yeah, you start to feel a little vulnerable as a woman. Things that could happen, what could happen to women? What happens to women? Not what could happen, what happens to women? A lot of things happen to women. But I hope a lot of things could happen to us in good times or bad times. Yeah, but I entitled this live stream, "A Hungry Man is an Angry Man." Hey. Yeah. Number say neither. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, I like my early walks here. The people here are really very nice. I haven't really gone out early like this, especially with my phone out like this, for a long time it seems. Yeah. Right now in Rwanda, it's a time of peace. Come on, baby. It's a time of peace right now. And you've heard of things. I mean, people have shared some things with me. And I asked myself, my God, just imagine if I was born and raised here in Rwanda 31 years ago. I would have seen a lot of things. And that reality, and upon hearing the thing on World War II, Hey, hello viewer, how you doing? You know, it gets you thinking. War is not glamorous. The realities, what could happen. Because again, 31 years ago, there was a civil war here in Rwanda. And so I have to really, my being here, hey, morning, me being out here while I'm doing this live stream, you have to use wisdom. You just become more, you have become more aware. You have to be really aware of what happened to you as a woman. You want me to pick you up? Pick you up. I'll pick you up. Pick him up. He's laying down. Okay. Yeah. War is ugly, people. I've never been in warfare. Like with bombs and machine guns going at it. I've never been in that. But just imagine here, 31 years ago, people were faced with some real horrifying stories. And I met one person that was living here, and they were 10 years old at the time. She remembers. And I didn't dare ask her how she got marks on her face and arms. It didn't look pretty. It looked like someone did something very vicious upon her. But either way, this video is not about this country, not at all. But I was watching the news, the videos on YouTube about World War II. It was about going on 80 years ago. And it's going on like 80 years. But boy, stories. Now that we have social media, things like YouTube, people could post up things and the whole world could get stories. Yep. So I was watching, I had gone in my file, with YouTube, like with YouTube you can press the like button. But remember, when you press a like button, it's stored in your like file. And I am stingy on press the like button, because I press the like button because to set up a library of those things that at a later date I may want to it. And one of those stories that I liked on YouTube was this love story. What happened in World War II. Oh, sorry, my nose is running. So what happened? Well, this was a story. A man and a woman. And I found out at the end of the story how old the guy was and how old the lady was. And then that's what shocked me. I said, oh my goodness. Yeah, and I'll sit up to the end too. Well, in America, in the 1940s, there was segregation. There was legal segregation in the Southeast, but even beyond the Southeast, things also was socially segregated. Okay, and it was severe, especially in the Southeast, and because things were socially segregated, the war. The what do you call it? The military, the different branches of military was segregated too. Yeah, blacks in America, blacks served in every war and conflict. Yes, always. Civil War, the World Wars, the American Revolution, all that. Yeah, yeah, that's the American Revolution. Blacks served on both sides. And it was the hope I would imagine to prove their loyalty and say, hey, we want to be free too. Okay? We'll help you, but hey, don't forget us. That's how, I mean, those are my words. And so this love story, it was a black woman, a nurse, and a POW from Germany. You know, Lavi, I'm going to put you down on the ground. You're heavy. Okay. Okay, but we'll go real slow. Okay, yeah, he's heavy. So, so what happened in this story? Well, what was happening, what they call the Allied powers were winning against the Germans and their, I guess, coalition. I forget what you call them. You had the Allied forces and then the other group. So the Allies won against the Germans, and they were working with, fighting alongside them. So they have, with war, you have POWs, prisoners of war. And some of those POWs were German soldiers or whatever from that side. And in war, you have people who are wounded, and so they had to recruit nurses. Back in those days, in the 1940s, women generally were the nurses in America, in general. But nowadays, you are having a growing number of male nurses. But either way, back then in general, the doctors were men and the nurses were women. And you needed people for the wounded, of course, during the war. Okay. so ooh. Look at it. It's like suspended in midair. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, I hope I search. Yeah, oh, my hair. So either way, so during during this war, you had, the Allies were winning, and they had to bring in nurses to tend to the wounded and to work in the POW camps in Germany or wherever. So the government in America has noticed, get this, they had noticed that the men and women, the nurses and patients, were flirting with each other, what they call fraternization. Fraternization means to be friendly with. But, fraternization is more than just being friendly. you know, you know. So anyway, now these were white nurses. See, they don't really like to say that. So white nurses, and usually, these POWs are white dudes, right? And, in wartime, the men go off to war, and the women only, right? All the eligible men, men like 18 to 40. Yeah, back then, the average age of military people were 40, I heard. Again, I don't know, but just imagine you're vital men or off to war. And then you want to serve your country. And they were recruiting, they were encouraging, they needed women to serve as nurses to tend to, the wounds or the needs of the patients. And but the white officials in America noticed that there was fraternization going on between these ladies and these POWs, you know. So these so-called intelligent male officials said, "No, we can't have this because it's dangerous to have fraternization because these POWs could do bad things." So in their wisdom, or lack of it, they said, I know what we'll do. We'll remove these ladies, these white women. We're going to replace them with black nurses from America." So they had a recruitment. And again, I don't remember the number of women. And this one particular incident, and you know it had to happen more often, but this is the one that got out, this story. So it was a black woman, and she was from a middle class background. Yeah, she lived in, she was, she worked and lived around white people. She understood white people. I mean, white people weren't a novelty to her. So she was comfortable in doing her job and having a white patient. And the patient, well, they were fraternizing. You know, I like a good love story, you know. You know, you love who you love, okay? And again, this is wartime. This is wartime, and war does not discriminate, really, you know. War can hit on anybody's desk, you know. So you know, they were interviewed. Well, their stories was, you know, an interview. Well, they fell in love. Yes, they did. And I don't know how long their relationship, you know, but she gets pregnant. And he had to, you know, after the war, you know, I guess when they settled, you know, the governments, they settled like who, you know, when the POW is going to be returned home. So he had to return home. Okay, okay. And I think a year later, he returned back to her, and they married. But you know, the war went over. The war just began for them. Yeah, they reunited. They have a son, and they went to live in Germany. Yeah, now this guy, this POW man, came from a wealthy family, and they didn't like her. They didn't like her. It didn't last long. You know, he went to work for his father. It just the the mother-in-law did not like her. It didn't go well in the country. So they go back to America. I think, yeah, they stayed in America, I think, throughout the rest of their life, but it was a living hell. But it's something that the assumption that these German Nazis, former Nazis, are not going to be attracted to a black woman. Well, people, there's biology, and that's what trumps a lot of stuff, people. Because wartime, okay, the men, you know, usually it's men that fight in war, you know, men with other men. And your passions, you're angry. You're angry. Men don't want to fight in war. Not in real war, you know. And you're separate. When you separate the genders, you know, men and women, you create a tension. And as I title, a hungry man is an angry man. What is he angry for? He's angry because he has a fight in war. He's angry. Maybe he has to sleep on a cold floor. He's angry because he don't got a woman. And that biology trumps any social segregation or racism out there. But they loved each other. They're married. They had two children, two boys, I think. It wasn't it was hostile for them in America, but they said that, the interviewer said that they they found a place in Connecticut, somewhere in Connecticut. It was a community that accepted like anything goes. And it's really funny, like it accepted interracial marriages, unions, homosexuals, what else? And it was an artsy community. You know what that sounds like? The Village in Manhattan. Yeah, the Greenwich Village was an art community. This also had a lot of gays. And my growing up in Manhattan, in New York City, and my hangout was Manhattan. And that area is where, well, coincidentally, that's where I worked. Yeah, my job relocated. I was on the job for days when it moved to the Village. Yeah, right in the, right on Broadway and 8th Street. That's actually like the East Village. It's all the same to the East Village, Greenwich Village. It's all the same. To me, it's the same. I mean, it's different, but the same. And yeah, so it was, I think, the same type of village. Where you going? Where you going? Come here. Come here, let's go back there. So I think it was a type of community in Connecticut that they lived in. Yeah, they had to keep moving. Yeah, they had to keep moving growing up. But when that couple moved to that town in Connecticut, that was their home for the rest of their life, I think. And they found peace. But it wasn't easy, overall for the children. But I was, when I was listening to the story, I was like laughing, giggling, because I like a good love story. I like defiance. And I like that I mean, you're assuming something stupid. You don't think you get a hungry man and you don't think you could want a sample? You know, it's so foolish.
It's a cute job.
Thank you, thank you. You don't think that the guy you have a guy that's in war? You see a pretty lady? Hello. That's why I laughed, because it was foolish of their behavior. You got a young dude. Let me tell you this. Why it's even more funny to me is that the man, it's like when I was hearing this story, I just assumed because in World War II, they say that the people were older, and at least in America, that the average age of the people who went in war was 40 years. So I'm thinking it's some 30, 40-year-old dude, okay? I was 19. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. You got a 19-year-old, a teen, and get this, how the female works. She's 23. And nothing wrong with that, okay. So I'm visualizing in my mind, that's why I'm laughing. I'm visualizing a 19-year-old boy from Europe, Germany, who's from a privileged background. So you find the poor think one way, and the rich could be more tolerant about certain things, He didn't know hunger, but he knew beauty. He knew beauty, right? And then the lady, she's from a middle class back in America, black woman, and she's 23. Well, in America, and I would imagine in many societies, Western societies, and back 8 years ago, a woman got married early, 23. So 23 is considered an old maid. And so you have a woman, you have wartime, everything's a mess all over the world. So you have, now the war's over and they're still settling who goes where after the war, where you're gonna be shipped back to. You got a 19-year-old and a 23-year-old. And what are you gonna do? You don't think they're gonna get involved? It's so funny. Hey. Mamo say Neza.
Yego.
Yego. Sawa.
Sawa.
Ah.
Yego. Yego wirirwe.
Yes.
Eh.
Umunsi mwiza.
Twese hamwe. Sawa.
So I'm learning slowly. Yeah, I said, have a nice day. Like you say, hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Have a nice day. Oh, sawa means okay, okay. See, I know a little bit. The people here are really good to me. This area. Yeah, this is Rwanda where I live. They're good people. But developing. Yeah. I want to stay in Rwanda. But there are things I have, I'm getting older. See again, biology, human biology I'm talking about. This is a beautiful place. But as you get older, you need security. You need good medical. Now, there's a nice hospital that I've been to. Nice. It was regular. Looked like an American place, American hospital. It's a private hospital. But the food and stuff is challenging. And you want the better you. And my back has been hurting. The base of the lower part of the back, way down, that's been bothering me. I had walked and my posture, I guess, wasn't too good. And it put pressure on my lower back. And paid, but I have to go get groceries. And getting reliable people is a challenge. Yeah, so either way. So here, you have a 23-year-old woman during wartime, and you meet a young blood from Athens. Yeah, and you want to make it work for you. So I like human stories like that. No, you're not going there. So, I'm sorry. Sorry, my nose is running. It's a little cold here. So I enjoyed this story, hearing it again. But then there's another story that after that video I watched, it's not a pretty story. It's very horrific. And again, I'm telling this story in a country that had a civil war 31 years ago. Yeah, there were women that were violated here. This war is not pure. Again, as I mentioned in the beginning of the story, I've never been in true war. Oh, I almost forgot. I was in the military. That's also why I laughed at the story between the man and the woman. Yeah, because I was 25 when I went in the military. And I was an enlistee. I was an E3. But most of the people are younger than me. And so, what are you going to do? Oh, how old are, okay, how old are, you don't walk around and say, oh, how old are you, how old? Because basically you're a certain age when you enter the military, right? And you're all stuck there. I was in the Navy. You're all stuck on a boat. What are you going to do? You're going to meet people. And you could come from in America, there's a lot of different people in America, in the military. You had black, white, mostly whites. You had a lot of blacks. You had some Hispanics. I met an Asian lady. Yeah, they had Filipinos there. Yeah, you had a Filipino, but back then it was white, and then black. People gonna meet. Most people are just people who want to just live their life comfortably. They don't want any problem. They want to have time. So that's what I also should have shared earlier. Yeah, I was in the military. And so I understood the dynamics between a man and a woman. Mostly men are in the military, but it's that female component too, and you have to deal with it. And so it's a story that I could understand. Her. Where you gonna meet? It's wartime. You want to meet somebody, but it's so funny because see, I was older, and she was older. And so most likely the men that you're going to meet are going to be younger. And so I could understand that biology. You want to have a good time. You want to meet people. You want to get married, right? So whether it's wartime or not. So either way, let me getting back to the second half of this story here. Okay. I'm sorry, my nose. So let me change that direction. So the other part of this story is not pretty at all. Especially, I'm living in a place that had war 31 years ago. And that reality, I don't know a lot about the history here, what happened, but some people met here in Rwanda did tell me how it affected them. So I want to walk on eggshells with sensitivity. What could happen to women? Whether you're a woman in Rwanda, whether you're a woman in America, whether you're a woman in Germany during World War, there's a double war that happens, and they don't want to talk about it. Women are upon during war. Also adding, women who serve in the military are violated also. Yes, women in today's military are preyed upon, and their stories aren't being heard. There's a lot of rape in the, oops, I'm not supposed to say that word. Women in the military are violated. And during wartime, again, a hungry man is an angry man, especially wartime. And that man is angry. And your anger could be for many reasons. One, you don't want to fight in war. Two, you want a woman, right? And they take on the female soldiers and they violate them. I personally know a woman who was in the Navy like myself, and she was violated. She was a teenager at the time, and she got pregnant. And the military forced her to have an abortion. And she was raped more than once. Okay, come back. Wee, good boy. Good boy. Yeah, she was raped she was violated more than once. And let me tell you this. She was violated by a woman, too. Yes, you have female pervert. Well, I had forgotten about that story. But as I'm walking, I'm remembering. So you got to tell the story. You got to share what the story is. What else? Yeah. Could you imagine? And then learning, rather than taking it, this is really weird, this story. Rather her holding her anger and resentment towards the first person who violated her, which resulted in a pregnancy and she was forced to have an abortion. She became a lesbian after that. Well, okay, bisexual. Yeah, because at the time when she was telling me the story, she is married to a man, but she goes, as a result, she goes both ways. Yeah, I guess somebody gets so confused. I think that's why a lot of people become what she is because of relations. Yep. And it's not about free choice. You get screwed up in the head. What you doing? Let me keep on going. So, during World War II, now, it wasn't a pretty scene. The One of the stories that they get, what was happening when you look now, people didn't like Germany in World War II was invading all those countries in Europe, including Russia. The Russians had the largest casualties of war. And when the Germans lost, well, I should say when the Germans relinquished power, because you know what happened, the German heads, including Adolf Hitler, he escaped. He escaped and moved to Argentina. And he is said to get medical attention in America years later. So it's like, oh, he's the bad guy, right? But you allow him to come to America to get medical treatment. That war criminal, he is a war criminal. It's all relative who's the bad guy, I guess. You know? Who's really the bad guy? I go down here? Okay. So, yeah, what was